Hi, everybody. So I really wish that there was a way to like fade that music out, but I am not a guru at this yet. And so I don't know how. So if you know how to do that, if you know how to fade out that music instead of just stopping the share and cutting it off, let me know. I would love to make that more auditorially pleasing for you guys. It is 7:56. It is the October. Gosh, it is October. Can you believe it is already October? So let me look and tell you, because we all need to know there are 80 days until Christmas. What? Are you kidding me? Oh my gosh. Okay, so it's October. And we are finally here at the October gathering, but we're not getting started with that just yet. We have got to do our giveaway from the September National Virtual Gathering, which, if you remember, was the egg apron, and I was not here. Thank you so much, Julie and Jesse, for allowing me to go on an amazing vacation. It was so nice to be able to get away and not have to worry. I knew you guys were in good hands, but we still have to give stuff away. So let me see if I can pull up. Hey, y'all just saw that, didn't you? All right. That's not what I wanted to show you. Anyway, we are going to show you this. Adjust this a little bit so you can see. This is the giveaway. Oh, you don't need to see half of our heads. This is what we're giving away for the October, strike that, the September VIP attendees. So you are going to get the Bag of the Month Club, the autumn season, which will be a bag for August, September, October. I know already past that, but you'll get all those patterns. And then you will get one pattern from mrsh.com and one pattern from swoon.com. And those that you see on the screen there are not all that you have to choose from. But if you wanted to get me a Christmas present, those patterns are the ones that I liked the best. So I use those pictures, of course, because I found them pleasing. So, but there are lots of patterns. I know on swoon.com, especially, there are also free patterns, like the egg apron that we did, or that Jesse did. We didn't do it because we was in Montana, but that Jesse did last month. That is a free pattern from swoon.com. So I'm going to stop talking and start giving this stuff away. So I need to show you guys the wheel of names. So let's see, let's do a new share. You can see my whole, here we go. Nope, that's all VIPs. That's the wrong wheel of names. Here we go. These are the VIPs that were in attendance at the September National Virtual Gathering. Good luck to everybody. Here we go. And the winner of the Swoon bundle is, drum roll, Kimbra Smith. All right, Kimbra, I'm going to be sending you an email in the next few days, and please respond to my email and let me know what your, oh, no, I don't have to email you. I probably will email you anyway, just to make sure I have the right email. Then I will pass your email on to Swoon so that they can email you all the details of your winnings. Congratulations. I'm so excited for you. That's awesome. So, okay, now that we have got that going on, tell me, everybody in the chat, tell me two things. A, where you're from, because I love to see where all the people are from. And if your homestead had a motto, what would it be? Tell me in the comments. These are going to crack me up. I can't wait to see what they are. We'll call out a couple of good ones at the end, but tell me where you're watching from, And if you had a motto for your homestead, it can be serious, it can be funny, it can be silly, it can be whatever. It doesn't have to be like homesteading for the new generation. It can be like, don't forget to close the chicken pen or whatever. Tell me what your homesteading motto would be. All right, so we opened the doors, we did our drawing. Yes, so it is now 8 o'clock on the nose. And that means that our October National Virtual Gathering is officially underway. And some of you may have just popped on and wondered, like, why is this crazy lady already talking? It's just now 8 o'clock. And what has she been doing? And what did I miss? Well, let me tell you what you missed. You missed, I can't say nothing because you missed some of my favorite, I won't say my favorite parts, but it's one of my favorite parts. I gave something away. That's what I like to do. It is at 7:55, we do our drawing for our VIP members that attended last month's gathering. Because there is some comparison, I have to run a report here and run a report there and then compare the two reports. And like, I just can't get it done during the gathering, mainly because I can't run an attendee's report during the gathering of who attended the gathering. I have to wait till it's over. So I do that afterwards, and then we give away the next month for the people who attended the previous month. I'm sorry, that's how it has to work. I'm just not fast enough. So oh, I love it. Kathy's doing it cheap. That's perfect for a homestead motto. So sorry, I squirreled on you guys there for a second. So yes, so at 7:55, I do open up the National Virtual Gathering, and then we do one giveaway. We do the giveaway from last month. The other giveaways for this month, I'll do at the end when everybody's on here. But for 7:55, from 7:55 to 8 o'clock, all you miss is me running my mouth and one giveaway from last month's gathering for the VIP attendees, which, with our gatherings, with our giveaways, I'll always email you. So if you can't be on at 7:55, but you attended the month before, don't worry about it if you can't get on until right when it starts. If you win, you'll still know because I'll still contact you. So welcome so much. We're so glad you're here tonight. I'm super excited about tonight because tonight is something that I kind of don't even want to admit that I didn't really even know existed. So our topic tonight is planting by the moon and seed saving. Now, yes, I knew that seed saving was a thing, but I did not know that there was this like planting by the moon thing. So I'm super excited to hear our speaker tonight, and that's going to be awesome. After our gathering, you guys don't just go away because we are going to have breakout rooms after our gathering. Now, what is a breakout room, you may ask? Well, let me tell you. A breakout room is a more traditional Zoom gathering that you might be more familiar with. So this is actually a webinar style gathering. You can see me, I can't see you. I can see your names, I can see your comments, but I don't know that, I can't see your faces. So this is just a webinar, and we do it that way because it's hard to control the noise that people don't turn their mics off, and it can get distracting with a lot of faces. My face is distracting enough, so we just keep it like this for this. But we want you ladies to interact about our topic because we love our topics. We're excited about our topics, and so directly after, and we'll post a link so that you guys can go straight there. We have breakout rooms, and those are done by region, and you'll go over to that Zoom meeting where you'll see everybody just like normal. It's just a normal Zoom meeting like you're used to. And we do those by region. You'll go in there, it'll be a smaller group of ladies, and you get to talk about whatever our topic was, or homesteading topics, or whatever. We start out with what the topic was, but I know how it goes, and people squirrel and tangent and get off, but it's always homestead related. So and I know that our speaker tonight is going to be jumping into those breakout rooms. So if you've got a question, make sure you go to the breakout rooms. But also during the National Virtual Gathering, there is a Q&A function. And you can use that Q&A function, and then at the end of the presentation, we will have a Q&A session on the webinar, I mean, on the National Virtual Gathering, but you'll be able to interact with our speaker in the breakout rooms. And I know that you ladies have enjoyed when the speakers have done that. So we are asking them to continue doing that. And I know you look forward to that. So, whew, that is a lot of me running my mouth. And I went 2 minutes over. Slap my hand, Cindy Ball. Tell me that I get demerits because I went way over on my time, 2 whole minutes.
Fortunately for you, I really love you and appreciate what you do. So I would never slap your hand. You can talk and go over as much as you want. But we do have to do our purpose statement because I want us all to remember why LHG, or the National Ladies Homestead Gathering, even exists. So our purpose statement is empowering women through homesteading and building this community. So the more women we are in community with, I really believe the more empowered we are, because it exponentially grows. And then, of course, our mission statement: how do we do this? How do we empower women through homesteading? We share knowledge, we build community, and we grow friendships. And when you have all those, you are a blessed woman indeed. So there you go, our purpose statement and our mission statement for the National Ladies Homestead Gathering. So I'm not going to take up much time, so we can give as much time as we can to Trina. I'm super excited to hear what she's going to say tonight. I have my notepad out ready to take my notes. So, but before we get to that, my favorite part of what we're going to do is Atta Girls with Miranda. Are you on, Miranda?
Hi, ladies.
There she is.
All right, ladies, it's time for our Atta Girls today, and this is where we come together and we share our accomplishments from the last month. It can be big, it can be small, whatever it is, whatever you got accomplished this month. So make sure to join us in our private community, because we always post at the beginning of the month, what are your Atta Girl moments? And we want you to share those with us. So pop on there, share in our community what your Atta Girls are, and I get the pleasure of reading these moments that women across the country have shared with us, their accomplishments for the month. So Lynn Cordell actually posted an image that was too cute not to mention. She posted an image of all of her jars of homemade organic tomato sauce that she canned, lined up all pretty. So if you see that, give it a like, because it looks fantastic. Esther Arkfeld wrote, filled by canning all of my pint jars with food. Quarts will be all full once the steer comes back from the locker. Started crocheting again. Atta girl, Esther. Maureen Mathau said, next and probably last batch of tomatoes. I'll try my hand at ketchup. Maureen, you'll have to check in and let us know how that goes, because I'm really excited to hear how that went. Sophia Rose wrote, it's been a good harvest this year. She strung 6 strands of hot peppers, canned strawberries, blueberry, banana, plum, and apple jelly and jams. She canned ketchup and barbecue sauce, plum ketchup and chutney, made blueberry, lemon verbena, ginger, and elderberry simple syrups, dehydrated onions and squash, and made a large pot of borscht in memory and celebration of her grandmother. Sophia, Atta girl, you have been busy this last month. So just a couple more to share with you, ladies, since I have the time to do it. Heather Gulley wrote, for the first time ever, she took goats to a winter neighborhood fair for kids to enjoy. She said it was quite the endeavor. She also made cough syrup, which she was so proud of, and then realized she was using the wrong herb. Who hasn't made a mistake like that before? She bought a new sewing machine that's still in the box. So she says September was definitely a success. Atta girl, Heather. Leash Grant said, I began tackling this garden. She included a wonderful photo. Pop on and look at it. It's been neglected this year, and I hope to get it all cleaned up and covered before winter. I'm totally new to gardening, so it's a slightly daunting task, and she doesn't know where to start. Well, lucky for Lish, she is part of National Ladies Homestead Gathering, so she'll be able to get some help with those gardening questions. And then the last one for tonight, Ashley Bansett, pardon if I murder a name here, said, "My rabbits really deserve the credit since they did all the work. But this September, we finally had our first bunnies born on the homestead. It's been almost a year waiting, starting with young stock and finding good quality, unrelated bucks." So she's very excited. Atta girl, Ashley. So ladies, again, don't forget to pop onto our community, community.nlhg.org, and share your moments with us. We want to celebrate with you. Thank you.
Atta girl, everybody. I love the Atta girls. I love hearing what you guys are doing. And I love some of my favorite Atta girls are like the oops, I used the wrong herb. Well, guess what? You still did it, Atta girl. Atta girls can be anything, good or bad, just as long as you do it and you try. So atta girl to all of you that did that. All right, so keep putting in the chat where you're from and what your homesteading motto is, because at the end I am going to take the time to read them, probably all, because they're quite humorous. So keep putting those in, and I'll be happy to share those at the end. But we are running a few minutes early, so that's okay. We'll go ahead and get started, in that way I'll have time to read all those at the end. But keep putting them in there. Where you're from and what is your homesteading motto. Some of them are pretty good. So on to tonight's speaker. Tonight's speaker is Trina Reynolds. She is a member of our community. She is an amazing homesteader. She is one of those ladies that I count myself lucky to know. Her homestead is in Southwest Virginia. She's very specific. It's not South, it's not West. It is Southwest Virginia. So she is such a plethora of knowledge, and every time I get to spend time with her, I learn something new. And it does not surprise me that she is the one that knows all about planting by the moon. And it's something that I've never heard of before, because she just is such a fount of knowledge. So Trina, I would like to invite you to come on and just share all your knowledge with us. Tell us everything.
Hi guys, it has been a while since I've been on here, and I'm so excited to get to come and share with you a little bit about what I've learned. Is a topic that I found very interesting when I started studying it. I think I heard about it. Well, we'll get to that in a second, but I'm super excited. So let me see if I can figure out the technology and we'll get started. Let's see. Oops. Okay, here we go. So we're going to talk about gardening by the signs of the moon, and we're going to talk a little about phonology, and we're also going to talk about seed saving. So as I mentioned to Ginger, I'm an urban homesteader. I live in Southwest Virginia on 2/3 of an acre. We've been here for about 3 years now. And it's been so fun to be here for more than just a year. We've moved around a lot, so I've gotten to try things in different places. But I've been gardening by the moon on 2 specific different plots for about 6 years. I first heard about gardening by the moon when I was reading John Jevons' book, How to Grow More Vegetables. I was about to start my first garden in Virginia, and I had I had a tractor come out and till this big plot of land. I'd never had such a big garden before. And it was making me super anxious about what to do with all this open soil that I had. So I texted a friend to ask her for some wise gardening advice. And she told me, put the seeds in the ground. They know what to do. So Ginger, that's my quote for my homestead. I'm forever grateful to her that she shared that wisdom with me. It's guided me in all my gardening endeavors. And while it has not made me a very detailed gardener, I'm pretty fearless and will try most anything. I think that I don't know how to say this. I just try stuff. I know that, and if you're a super detailed gardener and really precise, and I might make you crazy, but just go with it, and then you can make it as precise as you want when you do your garden. So in Jevons' book, he talks about planting by the moon signs to facilitate better germination, root growth, and fruit, and basically a healthier, more productive garden. So as I was doing my research for that, I discovered the Farmer's Almanac, and I think I had seen them before. I'm pretty sure my dad had them, but I never, I mean, there's a lot in there. It never really hit a note with me. And so I would just flip through it and then put it down. So, but I discovered there's really a lot in there. They're generally only available late winter. Around here, they're in the grocery stores. And there's also Farmer's Almanac online. And that one I have saved on my phone. So on any day, I can pop that window open and I can see today, what can I do? And you'll learn more about that in a second. But there are also a lot of different companies besides the specific Farmer's Almanac that publish an almanac for gardening. And so if they don't specifically have that one in your store, you can use any one. They all use similar charts. Okay, so in this book, it's amazing. All the things are listed. When to cut hair, when to dig fence posts, when to wean your calves, everything you can think of. And I know that a lot of old timers, and in the Foxfire books, you hear the old timers talk about doing things by at certain times. And a lot of times are called old wives' tales, but there really is a lot of truth to doing things at a specific time. I couldn't keep up with all the things. I'm going to get my haircut when I can get to the place. I'm going to dig a fence post when I am outside and it's dry enough and not too wet. So I had to bring it down for me so that I could keep up with things. I use Planting by the Moon signs to know when to sow my seeds and when to transplant. Those two things have been the things that have helped me the most and helped me to not be crazy trying to keep up with too much. So the basic premise for Gardening by the Moon is that anything that has the food growing underground, like beets, carrots, and potatoes, you're going to plant those during the waning moon. So here, when the pull of gravity will affect the root and tuber growth. These also tend to be the days that are best for transplanting your plants. If you're going to plant above ground crops, so peas and beans and tomatoes and flowers and all of those things, you're going to want to do those during the waxing of the moon. So what you have here is full moon here. As the moon gets darker, that's called waning, and it's going to go all the way over to the place where it is completely black. It's called the new moon. You wouldn't see anything at all in the night sky. And then it circles back around and then it starts to get more light. And this is called the waxing of the moon. And there's not just these two things that are waxing, it's every day in between. And on your regular calendar you might having on the wall, they often show the full moon and the new moon on those calendars. And now you know what that is. Can you plant seeds at other times? Yes. Will your garden fail if you don't follow these guidelines? No, of course not. These are tips just help you to take things that are part of the way that the earth works and to help your garden be the best it can be. Of course, other things will come into play, such as soil fertility, water availability, seed quality, etc. But gardening can be tough. I figure if there's something that can help my plants have the best start in life, then I'm going to try it. And it has worked wonderfully in our garden. And I've also melded a few other things into Gardening by the Moon. In my research, I discovered phonology, which is using the plant world around you to determine when the best time is, for example, to sow corn or plant cabbage. Don't confuse this with phrenology, which is the study of the bumps on your head. So phonology is the study of phenomena or happenings. It is applied to the recording and study of the dates of recurrent natural events, such as the flowering of a plant, or the first or last appearance of a migrant bird in relation to seasonal climatic changes. Phonology thus combines ecology with meteorology. So I don't use this. I mean, there's a lot. Let me tell you some things that you can use phonology for and things that you might see. and the reason it's so beautiful is because you've heard of microclimates before. Every garden has a microclimate. Sometimes you might have a microclimate within your microclimate if your place is big enough. So this allows you to really fine tune your sowing and planting, especially the things that you direct sow outside, because it takes, what you're doing is the plants that you're using are basically taking the soil temperature, and they are letting you know, okay, it's okay to do this now. And the soil is warm enough now that I can be happy and grow. So now you can also do this. So listen to some of the things that you can use plant phenology for. When the yellow forsythia and the crocus start blooming, you can prune your roses. And if you fertilize your lawn, you can do it then. After the aspens and the chokecherries leaf out, you can plant pansies, snapdragons, and other hardy annuals. When your daffodils or your forsythia are blooming, it's time to plant your peas. When the lilacs have leafed out, you can plant lettuce, peas, and other cool weather crops. When the lilacs are in full bloom, you can plant beans and squash. And when the flowers have faded on the lilacs, you can plant cucumbers. There's another one I saw that said, when the leaf of the lilac is the size of a squirrel's ear. And I thought that was so beautiful. When your bearded irises are in full bloom, you can plant your peppers and your eggplants. It's warm enough for them finally outside. And the one that we always want to know about, tomatoes. When can we plant the tomatoes? Actually, corn and peppers also. When the apple blossoms begin to fall and the flowering dogwoods are in peak, and when the daylilies start to bloom. So all of these have to do with giving you an indication of when the soil temperature is warm enough and when the ambient air and the nights are warm enough for you to move your things outside. So now there's no more guessing about, is it okay to move these guys outside? Is it okay to go ahead and put these in the ground? You can always have freak frost and things like that. But generally, if you follow the phenology method, you can get your crops in ground at the right time. So then a recent twist to my gardening, I like new things, by the Moon has been to use the Clyde's Garden Planner. And then I paired that with Jenny Bewley's Garden Planning Wisdom to simplify my seed starting. So if you've not seen Jenny's video from earlier this year, there's a link to it in the show notes. And this is just a screenshot of what that, it's on YouTube, and you can watch it. It's brilliant. So I do get bored. I change things all the time. I will take the simplest thing and make it hard because I want to do everything in a different way. But this system is very simple and it has really worked for me. So I can take one day in the winter and I can do all my planting in one day. I can, usually can't go outside anyway here because the winters can be pretty cold. Not like Idaho, but cold. And I can get everything set up. And then once a week, I just look at my calendar and I know what I need to do. So here is what I do. And this is based on what, this is my variation on Jenny's method. So in January, I get just a cheap, small calendar from the dollar store. And then I number the weeks 1 through 52. You can, if you are in Idaho and you can't even plant till June, you don't have to start numbering your weeks in January. It's just easy. You just flip through it really fast. Then I'll take the Clyde's Planner and I decide when I'm going to sow my seeds based on when I want my food to be ready. Okay. And I'm working and trying to decide what I want to direct sow and what I'm going to start inside early. For example, here we're in zone 6A. I cannot put anything out of my tender plants until after Mother's Day, which is May 12th, usually right around in there. And so I will count back my days to decide when I need to start those seeds, or I'm not going to get any food because we have frost before Halloween. So we have a short season here, but I'm just going to write those on my calendar. So for example, in this one on the 29th, I wanted to plant lettuce, peas, and spinach. Okay. Keep in mind this RC right here, because that's going to come up in just a second. Now, using whatever version of the moon calendar you have and you can get your hands on or look at it online, you're going to look and see when the favorable times to sow above ground crops versus below ground crops are. You're going to and write those down. So for example, here I wrote on the 16th, above ground crops on the 16th and 17th, root crops on the 11th and 12th. If we go back to that other slide, root crops, I use just some initials to help me, so I'm not writing everything out, and I just keep a list of my initials so I remember what they mean. But so if you look here and it says root crops, and I'm wanted to plant lettuce, peas, and spinach, I can look 1 week back and see that these are good days for above ground crops. I'm just going to scoot those and sow those on week 12 instead of week 13. Does that make sense? Let's see. Now, then you're going to start sorting your seeds into whatever device you will be using. I use this photo sorting box. This particular one, the one with all the colors on it, came from my Michael's. I got it in Georgia when I was down there. The ones with the clear boxes, I'm pointing at my screen, you can't see that. These here, that's an iris box, and I did give a link for that. It should be in the show notes. And I have found that the iris box, the joints are stronger. This is a little aside, but the joints have been stronger on the boxes. I have had no hinges break. So I would spend a little extra money and get those, because for many reasons, and we'll go over some of those. But so you start sorting your seeds by week. So for example, you see here in week 15, I have tomatoes, okra, and this one is not labeled, but these are all the things I'm going to plant in week 15. I just did these little Post-it notes with the week number on it, and I found that the Post-its do come off. So next year, I'm just going to put a little tab of blue tape on there, and just to hold that on there. But you're just basically, all you want to do is get all your seeds in some way so that you know that they're going to be planted in week 15. Jenny uses an accordion file. You could use a basket with rubber bands and Post-it notes. You could take whatever system you're using for your seeds, and you can make it work for this. Okay, you could use, I've seen, I think Rebecca Rhodes has a notebook with all of her seeds in like sleeves, so she can see what she has. So you could take a whole sleeve out and you could reorganize your book or have a second book. And that's what I do. You'll see it later. I have a box I use just for sowing what it's going to be sown in that time period that I'm sowing seeds. And then all the rest of the seeds stay in their boxes. I have a summer, like a spring summer box, and I have a fall box. So you do want to note that, and I believe that Jenny said this as well, if you're going to store your seeds in paper and not in plastic like this, then you need to put it where the mice can't get it, because they will get in it and they will eat all your seeds. The other thing is this is my entire box of tomato seeds. This box has packets from different categories of plants. You can do it either way. That's just completely up to you. So then now what you're going to do is every week you're going to check your calendar and you're going to see what needs to be planted that week. I usually go online and check the online Farmer's Almanac website to make sure that I'm getting the correct seeds in the ground, that I didn't make a mistake in my writing here. If life gets crazy and I'm supposed to, here it's week 25, it says cucumber, squash, okra, and cabbage. This is a great week for planting. Look at how many planting days we had. And I just can't get there. And there's, it's just not happening. Like back here where we had these X's, these are not good planting days. But if the only day that I can plant is a day that's X'd out, and that's going to be it, sister, get the seeds in the ground. They know what to do. They might not germinate as fast. They might be just slower coming up. Their root growth might be a little slower. In the almanac, it'll say, do no planting on this day, or everything's planted on this day will die. Well, I tested it because I wanted to see, and they don't all die, but you are going to get much better results if you can plant. But use this system. Don't let the system use you. Don't get tied up in being so precise about it that you don't get your seeds planted. And then just things will start growing. You'll start watering, food will start coming up. I love sowing. I start a lot of seeds inside, like I said, because of where we live. And I a lot of times I'll end up planting after dinner, and sometimes I'll come running down the next morning. It hasn't even been 12 hours, and I'm peeking in there to see if the seeds have bloomed, not bloomed, but if they're starting to grow. And there have been days when less than 24 hours after I sowed a seed, it was already starting. The seed cover had broken off, the root was coming out. It's phenomenal to see something like that, and it's super exciting. And that's what keeps me planting by the moon. So now we're going to learn a little. Oh wait, we are going to learn about seed saving in a minute, but let me see if I can switch over here. Do you guys have any questions that you want to ask right now before we go to seed saving?
I don't have any questions in the Q&A for you at the moment, Trina.
Okay, so do you want me to go on to the next?
Wait, I had one question. What books do you recommend for the phonology? Is this, I saw the one that she did, their 5th season gardening, or?
I've mostly just read things online. I haven't actually bought any books for that because I'm not studying it that deeply. I just buzz around and look online and read different sites.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Anything else? Okay.
Hang on, let me see. Okay, 2 questions have popped up. Do you also prune by the moon or the sun?
Yes, there are days for pruning and days for everything. If you can think of it, there's a day for it. And the thing that was so funny to me was like fence posts. Apparently the earth expands and contracts based on how much water's in it and things like that. And so yeah, there's days for everything. I lost my screen, Ginger.
And would you find those days in the Almanac as well?
In the Almanac, yes.
Okay.
So let me see it, and I can show you real quick. And I'll just read an example of today. It says, for the 1st through the 4th, a most barren period, best for killing plant pests or doing chores around the farm. The 5th through the 6th are fine for sowing grains, hay, and forage crops. Plant flowers. First day is a favorable day for planting root crops. Second day is a favorable day for planting beans, peas, squash, sweet corn, tomatoes, and other above ground crops in southern Florida, Texas, and California. So it just goes like that every day. The 9th and 10th, do clearing and plowing, but no planting. So this is the Farmer's Almanac. You probably can't see that online. It's just a really short. If you actually get the book, it has tons of detail in there.
Okay. And do you, Julie, you left out a word. What the question says is, do you for any winter sowing? Maybe do you have any advice, or do you have any?
I do the same thing in the winter. Like I put peas out. I started some kale and beets and those things. And I just looked at the schedule in the book because I'm going to direct sow all of those. And so I just looked at the schedule and said, okay, these are days for planting root crops. And so I think I planted them late July, early August. I just went out on a favorable day for root crops or leafy, for the peas for above ground, and just got those puppies in the ground, and they're doing great. So.
Okay. She was asking about winter sowing in jugs.
Oh, I've never done that before, but the planting by the moon signs has nothing to do with where you put the seed. But I've never done any winter sowing in jugs, so I can't speak directly to that as far as growing the food in. It depends on where you live, probably, and that kind of thing.
Okay, and there were 2 more in the chat. Elizabeth says, I've heard that some people will do their gardening by the moon and also at night. Information on this is sparse. Do you have an opinion on that, as far as like, have you ever tried doing all of your gardening at night, or anything like that?
I have not. I do live in the South, and the mosquitoes are like this big at night, so I tend to not go in my garden in the evening. And I also have tried to test and see, like, if it said that I could plant today, was a good day for root crops. If I planted them like right before I went to bed, Did it make a difference versus planting it earlier in the time that it said was acceptable? I honestly, this is where my lack of focus doesn't help me, but I don't pay attention enough to follow it through to see if it did make any difference. And I think that's part of, like Jenny Bewley's, her gardens are gorgeous. And she's looking at this now, but she hasn't done it for years and her gardens are gorgeous. So don't let it hold you back. Just try it and see. Maybe if you're one of those people who loves to do experiments, do an experiment and let us know, follow it through and let us know what you found out. But I have 4 teenagers right now. If I can just get the seeds in the ground, I'm happy. That's my very low bar that I set for myself. So.
And do you start seeds by the moon or transplant by the moon or both?
Both.
Okay.
And start seeds directly in the ground outside, start seeds inside, transplant. As I do all 3.
All right. That's all the questions we had at the moment.
Okay, so we're going to now look at seed saving, which is the opposite end of, we were talking about starting them. Now what happens at the end of the season, everything is grown. Now what do we do? And so here we go. Oops. I forgot my share, Ginger. Hang on, sorry guys.
You see it at the bottom of the screen?
Got it.
There you go.
Let me just get this where y'all can see it. And being part of this talk. I am not an expert by any means, but I have been saving seeds for a few years. Basic seeds that don't need a lot of care. So I thought I'd show you what I do. And hopefully this will help. And then if y'all need more information, maybe there's someone who has more experience with some of the more finicky seeds that could help. So my general method of saving seeds is to, for example, last year I saved a bunch of zinnias. I love zinnias. And I just marked some bags. And I actually have one over here to show you. I put the color of each zinnia. I also took a picture of the flower with the name like this on the bag so that I could see the color of the flower, a fresh one. And then I just dropped them in the bag. And these were already dry when I put them in here. And I just saved them until winter came, and then I would sit down and put on a movie and just pull the seeds out of things. So what I usually do for things like this that are pretty simple, sunflowers, all kinds of flowers, but I'll just take them and I'll dump them in a bowl, and I'll just go through, this happens to be echinacea or coneflower, and I'll just go through and I'll pull the seeds out. And as I pull the seeds out, I'll actually dump them in here, and then I can sift them a little bit more easily because I don't have all of the chaff in this bowl. And there may be some spare seeds in here, and I tend to just go throw these out in the garden somewhere on the edges so they can grow if they want to, if there are some spare seeds in there. Then I put them in here so that I can sift them, and then I move them into a labeled bag. You always, always, always want to label your bags, which sometimes I do and sometimes I don't. But this way, you're not going to remember no matter how much you think you might. So just go ahead and label the bag. And then when you're ready to plant, or if you're going to a seed swap and you want to put these out, everyone else knows what they are as well. So that's one way. I've gotten from friends bags at seed swap, like this butterfly bush, and nothing's been done with them, but they are sealed in the bag and they're labeled so I know what it is when it's time to do something with it if I choose to. Another way that I have dried things is I often use I have an Excalibur dehydrator, and so I will often take seeds and lay them on a plate and put them in the dehydrator less than 115 degrees so that the seed stays viable. And then sometimes I will put like these tomatoes on wax paper. What you don't want to do is, I was
Trina, unmute yourself. I think we
So
lost audio.
all the papers in one bag, or you will end up with a mess of tomato seeds and you have no idea. So this is now the apocalypse tomato saving, so that if I have to have seeds, they're here. I have no idea what they are. I have a general idea because I know what I grew last year, but this is not good practice. Better practice would be, for example, in this one, I did dry. You can see where I wrote the name on the wax paper when I was drying them, and then I just folded up the wax paper, put it in a smaller bag, and labeled it. So I know exactly where I got them, and now I can share them with others, and they know if they're going to get as well. There are other ways to store seeds. You can use leftover containers, these cute boxes. I have my dill seeds in, and I actually have the paper in there that says that these are from Baker Creek, and I just dumped the whole seed head in here. So those are great for seed swap. Another way that we store seeds are, these are the square snack bags, and those work really well, but my favorite of all are these. These are bags you get I got mine at Hobby Lobby, and you use them for jewelry, storing the little components. And this bigger bag is 2 by 3. These are like 1 by 2, maybe 2.5. And if you're doing seed swap, these are great if people are taking just a few seeds, or if they're taking a little bit more. You can write directly on them with the Sharpie, and then those sizes all go easily. If you happen to use a system like this, they go easily into these boxes. So that's kind of cool. And if you don't use a system like that, and you also have bins, you can just dump all the things in the bins if you have large amounts of seeds, and still make sure they're labeled. Okay. The other thing you're going to want to keep in mind is that seeds have a shelf life, and this is from Johnny's Seeds, and I gave there should be a link in the show notes for this, and this will tell you a specific seed and then how long you can expect its life to last. That doesn't mean that every seed will go bad at the end of exactly 5 years. It just means that the older the seeds get, the less likely they are to germinate. Even when you order seeds online, from, for example, Baker Creek, you might get a packet that's labeled that they packed 30% more or 40% more into the package than normal because the germination rate is low. So just keep that in mind when you're saving your own seeds. I keep my seeds down here in the basement. This is my garden space, my desk where I store seeds and sort things. This is the table where I pot up, and where I use my soil blockers. And then this is the top shelf, has heat pads on it. And so I start things there, and then as they get bigger, they move down. It also works for storage for my trays out of season. And so I don't have an outside greenhouse. So this is the space that I use for all. So it stays an even, cool temperature down here for my seeds, and it gives me space to work. I have extra containers down there, the different things I put in my soil mixes, bags of dirt everywhere. So it doesn't matter where you work. You can work at your kitchen table, you can work in the basement, you can have a big fancy greenhouse outside, but save your seeds, because sometimes certain seeds are becoming rare. Sometimes things are just hard to get because more people are planting. Do a seed swap with your friends and trade. It's fun to go to someone else's house and see something that you started. My dad had given me some purple pole beans, and when I go to my friends' houses now, every summer I see them, and that makes me think of my dad, which is really cool. And so, speaking of which, that's that. So, anyway, I hope that this was helpful, and if you have any questions, please let us know. Hi guys, I just wanted to welcome to this. So do you guys have any questions?
I do have a question. I have a question. The audio was a little bit bad, so if you guys have any questions or you couldn't hear anything, don't hesitate to throw that in the Q&A. I couldn't quite hear, Trina, the temperature that you said for the dehydrator. What was it that you said?
Less than 115 degrees.
Less than 115,
Yes.
115.
Yes.
Let's see. All right. Bonnie was asking about the years of viability, and then she said, oh, you answered it in the
Yay.
in the video. So that was good. Any other questions you guys have? There were a couple of ladies in the comments. Nancy, let's see. Miranda said she uses coin envelopes to store her seeds. And Shannon, I think that's Shannon, uses mason jars, just like you had
Yeah.
used.
Mhm.
Because that Nancy was asking, is there a non-plastic way to store seeds? Do you have any recommendations on that?
Well, you can, I've seen where people have patterns online, like on Etsy, where you can print out a sheet that they make and you can cut it out and make your own paper seed envelopes. I've seen people twist them into wax paper. I've seen lots of canning jars. I've seen, really, you want to try I mean, I understand that the plastic is not always great and it's not as friendly, but it does keep the moisture out, and so the glass jars are good for that, and the bags that seal, because if you live in a humid place like we live, your viability on your seeds goes down if their humidity level goes up and down. So you kind of have to weigh that out and decide what you have available to you, how much money you want to spend on it, kind of how you want to manage it.
And B put in the comments that there are 2 milliliter amber seed vials available online with cork top.
That's cool.
So, yes. So Mary's asking, do you do any fermented seed saving?
That's the thing I have not done. And I know that I've read that there are certain seeds that have to go through that process in order for them to be used. And I have not studied that process. And so I don't know anything about it. That would be something that someone else would have to speak to.
All right. Anybody else? Last chance for questions. B is saying they're 50 for $16 online. I'm sure you can just do a Google search and find those. All right. Anybody else got a question? Last call on questions.
I have a question. First, I want to thank you for being on here tonight. It was great to see your face and hear what you had to say. I have visited her gardens and they are amazing. She put a lot of love and care into the beginning of them. And I really do think that your way of gardening is really good, but you also give them a great foundation.
Thank you.
Yeah, I know how much work you put into your soil.
Yeah.
But I did have one question. In the Farmer's Almanac, do they actually talk about the planting time, or is that why you use the Clyde's planner?
I honestly don't know. Because I've mostly been using the online one, I didn't even have an old one to look at. I know that some people keep them for always, but I don't do that. So I use the Clyde's planter because, well, we sold them back in the day that were have the LHD symbol on there. I just thought it was a cool tool and it's easy to keep up with, and it's one small thing. And so I have tended to go that way for myself. I don't know. I would think it's probably in there because all the things are in there, all of them.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited. I've been working here in Montana, trying to get things to grow. It's an incredibly short season. It's zone 3.
Oh,
but
gosh.
now I'll be half a year in Pennsylvania. And so I think that's zone, it's either 6B or 7, something like that. So now I'm going back to a different one.
Yeah,
I was like, oh my gosh. So I think I may get the Farmer's Almanac because that will cover everybody, right?
it does. It
Both.
does. Mhm.
Okay.
I think that the thing that's nice about using the Clyde's planner is that you can adjust it for your frost date. And so you get the exact time when you're supposed to plant certain things. And that's what makes this so brilliant. Where the Almanac covers the whole country. And so, and they do have zones, you know, they do have Northeast and South, you know, all that. But this to me, I can put it to my days and I know that that's when I need to plant. So.
Okay. And that phonology, man, when you mentioned that, I was like, I am so getting that book.
It's so fun.
Well, especially if you're a forager,
Yes.
to be able to see what nature's saying and then let, know what else to plant as soon as those indicators come up. I thought that was so cool.
I think it's fascinating.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I'm going to use here in the mountains because I just don't have a clue when you're supposed to put stuff in. So
yeah.
Okay, we'll try that. But anyways, thank you so much for being
You're
on
very
here
welcome.
tonight. Let me just check real quick if there's any more questions. Let me see. Elizabeth said, Jessica Sowards, what a great name. Roots and Refuge Homestead has great videos about fermented seed saving. Most seeds that need fermenting have a jelly membrane like tomatoes. Yeah, that's what, and cucumbers.
But you know what's interesting? I've never done that with my tomatoes. I just squish them all out. I have a strainer, a fine mesh strainer, and I just rub them out in there in running water. And then I pick the seeds out and dry them in the dehydrator. I've never fermented my tomatoes and they germinate every year. So, but Jessica on Roots and Refuge, her stuff is fantastic.
That's cool. I'll have to look at that. Yeah, I've done my tomatoes like you did. I've never fermented either. So anyways, thank you so much, Trina.
You're welcome.
Appreciate you.
Thanks
for having me. Ginger.
All right, so now, because we do have just a few minutes left, I do want to get to some of these most hilarious mottos because you guys are so much fun. All right, so I'm just going to go down. So Bonnie is Le Pasture Eggstonia, the pasture of stone and eggs. Mine would be the pasture of glass because we live where an old house was, and it was also where they used to shoot bottles for the old farm that used to be here. So we find glass all the time. Let's see, in Oklahoma, Molly's motto would be, if it can break, it will. Don't we all know that, Molly? Let's see, in Northern Idaho, we got gardening and ranching. Laura says, better late than never. Let's see, Chris, I'm assuming that's Christine. It cuts off your names, so I apologize if I'm getting it wrong. She says, pull those weeds. Yep, don't we all know that for sure? And then doing it cheap, Kathy, as I mentioned before. Let's see, Judith in Thomasville, Georgia. That may have been what I said, but it's not what I meant. A quote from her husband. Yes, we all know that feeling too. Cindy in Georgia, in Houston, Georgia, I know I'm saying that wrong, is home sweet home. They raise bees. Leslie Stahl in Denver, let me tell you, I can relate to your motto. I think I can figure this out. Oops. So that's kind of how it goes. Shannon, in Ohio, you don't have to outrun the rooster. You just have to be faster than Dave. Poor Dave. Oh, bless him, as we would say here in the South. Oh, Gareth is speaking in a foreign language, which doesn't surprise me, but she did translate it for me. And it says, I will either find a way or make one. Elizabeth is at the Whistling Rooster Homestead in Idaho. Let's see. Elizabeth also says, just cock-a-doodle do it. Yes, absolutely. And then let's see, who is this? Jenna Bell in Athens says, it'll be fine. Yeah, that's kind of ours here. And I think that was, and then there was one more. Oh, and I lost it. Ah, yes. Mary Warner's in Dacusville, Georgia, their motto when they were younger, she said, was lust, dust, and rust. So that is awesome. All right, guys. So now, again, my favorite time, I get to give stuff away. So first of all, we are going to do an all VIPs. I know this is going to surprise you. We're giving away a magazine bundle. That's right, magazines. I know it's surprising because we only do that every month, but all VIPs. Okay, let me get my screen share up and running. Make sure, nope, that's the wrong one. Here we go. There they all are. So this is if you are a VIP member. Everybody that's a VIP member is on this field, whether you're attending or not. One more perk of being a VIP. Here we go. Spinning the wheel. Good luck to you, VIP members. And our winner is, I have no idea because it's so small. Jazz hands. Verna Lee Curry in North Kootenai. All right. Let me write that down. North. You know, I probably would never pronounce North Kootenai correctly if I hadn't had multiple people tell me how to pronounce it before all of this. All right, so before we go on to the all attendees, so everybody that's on here, I'm going to tell you what we're going to give away. And for all VIP attendees tonight. And first I'm going to stop and answer. All right, somebody said they got on late. Can materials and resources be shared via email or the network? Let me tell you guys about that real fast before I do the rest of the giveaways. If you are a VIP member, by at the very latest next Wednesday, so 1 week from today, the recording and all the links, all the videos, I'm gonna try and get that seed saving video from Trina. I'm sure she'll share it with me so I can post it. Anything that was associated with this will be posted in the members, in the VIP member area on the website. So you log into your VIP, to your account on nlhg.org, and on the right hand side it'll say national members, and you click on that, and I think it's at the bottom, but there's a little list, and it'll say national virtual gathering resources, or virtual gathering resources, or something like that. If you click on there, it has all of our past national virtual gatherings on there. If you are not a VIP member, the recording of the gathering will be posted to YouTube, but our VIP members get a 1 month head start. So for example, September's National Virtual Gathering will be public on YouTube next week. October's, so the one that we just had tonight, will be public on our YouTube channel next month. So if you're a VIP member, you can get access to everything next week. Got to give me some time to get it edited and stuff, and get all the links uploaded and that kind of thing. So, but if you're not a VIP member, then it will be up next month. I hope that answers your question, B. Okay. So for the VIP attendees, I have for you a gardening logbook. So this is going to have a place for your seed inventory. It has a place for you to keep track of your plants, when you planted them, the water you gave them, the sunlight, how they grew, if they're poisonous to animals, if there is a part that is poisonous, so you can keep track of that. And there's lots of pages for that. And then there's a place to plan out your garden, because we all like to do that. And then just some pages for notes. So this is, oh, look at that. That must be the same green. This is for VIP attendees. Will be given away at the beginning, along with a farmer's almanac. So you will get a farmer's, oh, that's kind of exploding, a farmer's almanac and the gardening logbook. You will get both of these for our VIP giveaway, but I have not forgotten everybody that is on here tonight. So let me just tell you. So I am also giving away the 2022 Farmer's Almanac to one of you all attendees. This is, if you're on here tonight, you're eligible for this giveaway. If you don't win, but you want one, I got these at Sam's Club. So I know that Sam's already has them out. Not promoting them, I'm just telling you where I got it. If, for example, you would like to start off the new year with a new hairdo, the best days for perming your hair in January of 2022 are the 4th, the 5th, or the 31st. Please don't stray from that. Perms are bad enough as is. I'm just kidding. So I thought that was kind of funny, but yeah, I mean, you can get married, you can travel for pleasure, buy a home, you can make jams and jellies, perm, color your hair, straighten your hair, have dental care. That's right. Lay shingles, don't get shingles. Wash the windows. Oh, look, honey, I'm sorry. It is January the 9th, and my Farmer's Almanac only says that I can wash the floors on the 6th or the 7th. It's going to have to wait till next month. So, Old Farmer's Almanac coming your way, screen sharing my next wheel of names. This is all attendees, everybody that is on the call tonight. Good 2022 Farmer's Almanac. Who's gonna get it? Julie. All right, Julie. So Julie, Kimbra, Verna. Those are the people that won tonight, the giveaways. I'll be sending you emails. Now, I'm through 2 minutes over. I'm so sorry. Let me give you the link for the breakout rooms. If you are going to the breakout room, I will come around like normal and I will bring you in your breakout room a link to register for next month, which is going to be Cindy, you want to tell us what the topic is for next month?
You're so funny. I'm still waiting to hear what the topic is going to be. But if it goes through, I've texted and I'm still waiting on an email. It should be on nutrition, and which I thought would be a great time close to the holidays, some ideas of traditional foods and how we can change them just a little bit so that they are good for you. Not that all holiday food is bad for you, but you know, it's some of those ones that maybe could use a little help.
I have a fantastic pecan pie or pecan pie recipe, depending on where you're from, that is corn syrup free. It is grain and corn syrup free. So I'm not saying it's a healthy pie. I'm saying that it does not have corn syrup and it is grain free. So, and we tried it one year, and when you taste it, it's like, tastes like pecan pie or pecan pie. Yeah. It just is like, oh, they must have a little bit different recipe than my family uses. It wasn't like, ugh, what is wrong with this pie? It was actually very good. So I'll have to put that in the show notes for next, or the links for next time. All right. So
but I promise, and let's promise them that as soon as we hear, and hopefully it will be soon, we will post it everywhere that we can so you all know. Or if you're all into surprises, just show up.
Show up. We always have fun.
That's
it doesn't matter what the topic is. And then I will go ahead and tell you that December is going to be a year in review, at a girl roundup, let's talk about it all, and giveaway extravaganza. So, oh, and before you go, because of two reasons. One, I have very little oversight and I kind of get to do whatever I want. And number two, there is a paradox going on this month, because October is National Caffeine Addiction Recovery Month. And I think today is National Have a Cup of Coffee with a Cop Day, which how does that work out? Everybody that put a motto in the chat is going to get a magazine. That's right. You heard it. I'm giving it away. You get a magazine and you get a magazine and you get a magazine. And the link for the breakout rooms is now in the chat. Go ahead and jump over there. If you're not going to go to the breakout rooms, but you want to register for next month, hang out for 2 minutes. It's 9:05 at 9:07. I'll put that registration link in the chat. If you're going to the breakout rooms, bye guys, go have fun. Thanks for attending. I love you all so much. This is so much fun for me every single month. Thank you for letting me do this. I will see you next month.